I'm joined on air right now by attorney Bradley Gage. He's a civil rights attorney, and Brad, Southern California is hot, and folks are getting ready to go back into football season. But it looks like SoFi Stadium has been flagged for unnecessary roughness, not on the field, but in the bleachers with the fans and patrons that are attending the game. What is happening at SoFi, Bradley Gage?
Well, I have two different lawsuits for two different families where the allegations
Two?
are that they, two,
Okay.
two different lawsuits by families where they claim that they have been abused and beaten unnecessarily by security guards at SoFi Stadium. The first family is a father-son. They're black, and they were targeted for watching football while black, we claim. The second
Wait a minute.
family
Wait a minute, Brad. Say that again. I don't think I've ever heard you. You said watching football while black.
yes.
What do you mean by that?
So what I mean by that is that there was a fan who appeared to be white that was throwing beer on people in the stands rather than going after him. Our lawsuit contends that my clients were racially profiled and stereotyped because they were the black family in the area. They did nothing wrong. They've never been arrested, never had problems with the law. One of them plays football at a well-known college, and the other one works in the automotive business. Watching with their friends, they were the only two black people there. The rest of their friends were primarily Latino. Security guards targeted them, ended up beating them, and causing the father to need shoulder surgery because of what happened to him.
Wow. And so what? Let me understand, because I think first of all, behavior at stadiums. Personally, I don't care to pay these exorbitant prices, right? To have to actually be concerned about what my fan experience is, and so. What is like SoFi saying? I mean, obviously people are consuming alcohol, right? I mean, we see fights on the internet now more than ever in games. I mean, outright brawls. What is SoFi Stadium saying? What is their responsibility or obligation to keep its guests safe? And I mean, is it reasonable to expect? I know I'm loading a whole lot of questions in there for you, Brad, but I think you can handle it. Is it reasonably safe for someone to expect that part of the experience may be you may get beer thrown on you and the crap beat out of you by security employed by the stadium?
Well, obviously, the stadium and its security forces are required to keep fans safe.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, what we need is fans to be safe from the security guards. It's just like a police case where the security or a police officer engages in excessive force, going after people unjustifiably and then escalating the situation. This was a situation where there was beer being thrown, which is unpleasant, and people talking. It's the security agents, we contend, that engaged in violence. Making matters worse, the friend of our family that we represent, he ended up getting sued by SoFi because they claimed that under the license agreement with the Rams, you have to control your guests. And so here, and the judge even made a comment about it, they're claiming that because the other individual, Mr. M, we'll call him, was the person who actually got security, he now is getting sued by SoFi, asking him to pay their attorney fees after the alleged beating of our clients. So it's a very sad situation where they're adding the proverbial insult to injury.
So, and I don't want to make light in any way, right, around what you are and your client is alleging to have happened, but Uh, you can go to the game, your team can lose, but you can get your butt kicked. That sounds just ridiculous to me. Through your lawsuit and through your discovery, have what does SoFi say about their policy? You mentioned that, and when you say through your license, right? I assume this is a season ticket holder, and part of the conditions or behavioral conduct or something that kind of is that fine print when you buy a ticket to any event, right? I mean, you can't go in there and just crash out. But when they say control the conduct, how does an individual control the conduct of someone else?
Well, that's not their job. It's not their responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
This was a group of individuals watching the game.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't even drinking alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
They were calm. They were peaceful. They were cheering. There's a video, taking a selfie video showing how they were just fans waving their towels, supporting the Rams. And some guy who was a Saints fan, not black, throws beer, creates a disturbance. That man was drunk, but security went after Mark Lions because they're black. And that's just totally unacceptable. That's why we're going after them. It's not just...
Go ahead, Brad. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, what is SoFi saying their policy is? Have you kind of, through your discovery, and perhaps, I don't know where you are in this process. I do know you filed on behalf of your clients, and as I said, this hasn't been heard in the news as of yet. So you are sharing this for the first time publicly right here on KBLA Talk 1580. But is there anything in their employee manuals or training process or procedures that instructs the security officers to intervene physically in assault as you and your client are alleging?
Well, that's an interesting question. We've taken the depositions of several individuals. Depositions are oral statements under oath where people have to tell the truth, just like in a courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
The security guards are giving wildly different testimony, what they can do, what their training is. It does not appear that they received any type of a policy training manual other than a one-page document showing here's the fan code of conduct. Nothing about uses of force, nothing about when you can or cannot touch somebody, how you're supposed to touch them, whether to de-escalate a situation or even how to do it. So there's a lot of concerns about the training and supervision of security guards, most of whom are retired police officers. So what kind of background checks they've done on the police to see any prior issues of excessive force is sort of a mystery.
You said most. Some are retired police officers. I mean, when I think of security, I think of mall security, right? I mean, I understand they have a job to do, and it's really they're ushers, right? They're guest relations. I don't know that we think of them as really securing anything. I think they're more so there for witness and observation. SoFi, we know, has technology, facial recognition, all the NFL stadiums now, and most major sporting events and even theme parks now. You can't go into them without your photograph being documented. So essentially, if they can track your spending around the stadium, they can certainly track you around the stadium. What is the NFL? What are the Rams saying? What are the ownership? Who's in this bag of a lawsuit in the allegations that you're making? Who's responsible?
Well, you bring up a very good point. The security claims that they don't have any videos of the incident. Supposedly, while there's videos of nearly every section of SoFi Stadium, it's their contention, which we find absurd, that in Section 231, there's just no surveillance cameras. And they try to claim they can't give where all the cameras are because of a security breach otherwise. But the reality is If you have evidence and you don't produce it when you could have produced it, should have produced it, and really have it, then you can have a jury instruction that is concealment of evidence and have an instruction that can be considered as evidence of wrongdoing, which is what we're claiming here.
There's also another incident that you speak of, and we'll move the conversation forward in just a minute or so, Attorney Gage. So there's a second incident involving another family at SoFi Stadium that you are your clients and you are alleging were assaulted. What's the top line on that? I imagine the follow through mirrors what you're experiencing with the first case. But who is this family? What was their experience, and how does it differ from the other case?
Well, the second family was at a concert. They are Latino.
Mm-hmm.
The husband is a police officer still. He's a good officer. And they were enjoying the concert. Nobody knew he was an officer because he was in street clothes.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up tackling and beating the family. The husband was handcuffed. And then the allegation is while handcuffed, the security agents picked up his legs. What that does is it makes you topple forward. He could not put his hands out to protect himself because they were handcuffed behind his back, and he received serious injuries, was knocked unconscious. And then we also claimed that the wife, while she was in handcuffs, was strangled or choked by a security guard and otherwise treated roughly and injured because of their actions.
Wow. I don't know how I would have dealt with that. I don't know how anybody deals with that. That's the voice of attorney Bradley Gage, civil rights attorney. He's representing two separate cases where they are alleging that security at SoFi Stadium has been flagged for unnecessary roughness with fans and guests at the stadium, no less, right? We see the violence that happens at the stadiums all the time, but I don't know that they rarely end up in some sort of litigation. So good for them for coming forward and seeking some redress. Brad, when we come forward, you mentioned good officers. That's not something that rolls out of my tongue often. I know there are good people who work in the profession, but sometimes show up not so good. Stay with us, Brad. We'll continue this conversation when we come forward. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got a lot to talk about.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. Ohio Republican Governor Mike DeWine says a plan to deport Haitian migrants is a mistake.
The Haitians who are living there and employed there, they came there to work. And they came there because there were jobs that were not being filled by other people.
He made the comment on CBS News, arguing the move by the Trump administration could hurt the state's economy and put lives in danger. Chicago police are warning travelers about recent vehicle thefts from O'Hare Airport parking garages. Authorities say the suspect looks for unlocked cars with keys inside and drives off. In some instances, the suspect has crashed through security gates. And 50 Cent's Power series is heading to Netflix after he signed a deal with Lionsgate Television. Power will be available to watch on Netflix in November. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.